Hello everyone, Airfoil here with another Wi-Fi battle against someone named Louise, I believe that's how it's pronounced. So, they lead off with Roserade. I just go straight for the Overheat, no real trick plays or anything here like that. And he ends up just staying in, and that's Roserade out of the picture right off the bat. So, he switches to his Greninja to finish me off. I'm Choice Scarf, so I can't actually go for an electric attack, forced to switch out. I switched in Sylveon knowing he could take pretty much any attack Ninja has decently well and scare it out. He ends up getting a crit on the Hydro Pump, but I still take it really well, and I'm able to go for the Wish. I knew he was going to switch out, and I knew we had Scissor, so I didn't really bother going for the Hyper Points. I just decided to heal up instead. So, I was wondering what kind of set this might be with this Scizor. All Scizor pretty much run the same set, but I wasn't sure what its item was, what its EVs were. So I switched in Blastoise. I know that if Scizor invested enough in speed, he would outrun my Blastoise, but Blastoise is naturally faster, meaning that if he didn't invest in speed, I would obviously outrun. So I outsped him, confirming that it probably is EV born both. He also was able to, he switched it up to U-turn, and no Life Orb damage. Meaning, it's obviously not Life Orb or Choice Bandit, so I'm not exactly sure what its item could be at this point. And then he switches Charizard right into my Blastoise. Now, I had an idea was why, because why else would you switch Charizard into a water Pokemon like that? So, I switch in Rotom to take the Solar Beam, and he ends up going with the Focus Blast, and unfortunately for him, he does miss. So he knew the Volt Switch is coming, he switches out to his Garchomp and decides it's a great opportunity to get a free setup. And I switch into Chestnut. I know I can take any hit it has decently well. I go for the Spiky Shield to see if it has Poison Jab, and he ends up roaring me out. That essentially confirms he does not have Poison Jab, and that my Sylveon can easily beat him head to head. So Sylveon scares him out. I knew I had an idea he was going to switch out, but I went for Hyper Voice anyway, just to try and get some damage on what came in. He ended up switching in his Scizor, which took a lot of damage from Hyper Voice. So, I go ahead and I use Protect to get some leftovers back. I switch in Chestnut. I only have one leftovers at the moment, so I had to give my Chestnut Rocky Helmet. It ends up working out, because he almost kills himself from the damage from that. I go ahead for Spikes. I had an idea he would switch up, just in case he didn't. I went for Spikes anyway. I figured if he didn't switch out, he was probably going to KO himself from the Rocky Helmet damage. I go for Spiky Shield. I still haven't seen if it has Solar Beam yet, so I was baiting for that. And he ended up going for Flamethrower, so I just switched into Rotom. I knew he was going to switch out, and I knew in the sun, Overheat would hit very hard. So I just went ahead and fired it off to try and get some damage on whatever switched in. And ended up doing a nice amount of damage to that Garchomp, even through the resist. So I switch in Chestnut again, obviously to take the hit. He roars me out again. My Rotom was sent back in, but without the Sunlight, I'm not confident that Overheat would one-hit KO, or would finish it off. So I switch back out to Farley. I know, as I figured out earlier, you can't really touch it. So I knew he was going to switch out, and it was either going to switch to Charizard or Scizor, so I went for the Wish, because Hyper Voice isn't going to do much to Charizard, and Scizor I knew would die to the Spikes damage. So he sacks his Scizor, and I get a free Wish off. In comes Charizard, as I thought. So I go ahead and switch in Blastoise. I'm deliberately trying to bait him to go for the Solar Beam at this point, and he actually goes for the Fly. I guess he needed to use it in-game for some time or something, and just had to get rid of the Solar Beam for a bit. So, I go ahead, I don't want Blastoise to take too much damage at the moment, so I just go ahead and Tyranitar. I figured, Assault Vest, I knew I would be able to take the Focus Blast from it. He ends up missing the first one, but it doesn't really matter. Based on the damage that the second Focus Blast did, Tyranitar, it looked like it was only a 3-hit KO, meaning even if he did get both Focus Blasts off, Tyranitar still would have had enough health to survive and take out the Charizard. So he switches into Greninja. I figure I might as well just stay in. I don't really need Tyranitar. I know it can take a Hydro Pump. And I figured I might as well just try and get rid of all of his Hydro Pump power points to make it easier to take out. So I switch in Sylveon. Gets another crit, but it doesn't really matter. I shrug off the Ice Beam fairly well. I guess he went for the Ice Beam just to try and conserve power points on Hydro Pump. I go ahead for the Protect, and I believe he's out of Hydro Pumps at this moment. So I figured I might as well set up Blastoise and just sweep the rest of his team. And I go for the Wish. And then I switch out to Blastoise, get Blastoise all its health back, and Blastoise can take pretty much whatever's left. I believe the enemy's on his last two Pokemon. But he ends up quitting here, so that's the end of the battle. Yep,